Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Reviewing Recruit Information for Division III Schools webinar today. First off, we just want to thank you all for joining us here today, and we want to tell you how excited we are to continue to be working with Division III and being able to do this process all with you. My name is Daniel Scotto, and I am the Coordinator of Communications here at the NCAA Eligibility Center. And joining me today will be Erica Klages, who is the Assistant Director of Amateurism Review here at the NCAA Eligibility Center. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started here today. Your mics are off and your cameras are off, but we do want to hear from you. So please use the Q&A function at the top of your screen to ask any questions that you may have throughout the presentation today. We do have a team standing by who will be answering questions throughout, but please feel free to leave your email with your question just in case we can't get to your question today. Our customer service team will reach out to you with your question and give you an answer. So I'm going to go ahead and get into today's agenda for today's webinar. So I'll be going through some definitions and reviewing what the NCAA Eligibility Center is and what we do. And I'm going to pass it over to Erica, and she's going to go through Division III by the numbers and go through the membership portal and what the portal does and its functions. And at the end, we're going to go through some proactive actions and then finally wrap up with some resources. So going through the NCAA Eligibility Center of who we are and some definitions. Before I get into that, once again, I just want to state how excited that the Eligibility Center is to be working with Division III. We're very excited for the partnership that we have and continuing to work on that partnership moving forward. So the Eligibility Center is a unit within the NCAA that does the certification of those college-bound student athletes so that they can compete at the collegiate level. The Eligibility Center does a review of academic requirements and amateurism requirements. So here at the Eligibility Center, we love our definitions and our acronyms. I'm sure you've learned that so far if you've been to any of our webinars, and if you've interacted with us, you'll hear a lot of these terms. So first off, the first one we have that you'll often is PSA, also known as the Prospective Student Athlete, or this is also known as the Recruit or the College-Bound Student Athlete. Next, the IRL is the Institutional Request List. So this is the NCAA Division III member school list of recruits. And once you add a student to your IRL, it will notify the Eligibility Center that an amateurism-only certification account is needed for that PSA. And then finally, certifications, two types of these. There's the academic and amateurism certification and the amateurism only certification. So like I said, just make a note of these. And like I said at the beginning, that this is being recorded and it will be sent to you all in the coming days. So you'll have a PDF of this and you'll also have a recording of this presentation going forward. At this point, I'm going to head it over to Erica, and Erica is going to take it away with Division III by the numbers.
Thank you, Daniel. As Daniel said, my name is Erica Klages. I'm Assistant Director for Amateurism Review. Many of you may know me from previous webinars or from Regional Rules last year. It has been a while since our last touch base, and I'm happy to be back in front of you now that we have gone through our first summer with Division III. This time, we are going to go back over how the process will work for you on campus and highlight some of the updates that you might notice in the membership portal. Before we get to that, though, let's start by reviewing the numbers from this past summer. We are up to 270 Division III member schools who have activated their EC app and have access to the membership portal. Now, when I say EC app or membership portal, those terms are interchangeable. They basically mean the same thing. We understand that not all Division III schools had an international student athlete come to campus in fall 2023. So 60% is a great start, and we will continue to work towards getting 100% of Division III activated. That way, we're not in scramble mode if, say, an international student wants to walk on to the soccer team. The really important number here is the 1,700 active Division III IRLs. This number is appreciably higher than we had projected, but we were mostly able to stay within service standards and get decisions out the door. We currently only have 136 cases in active review right now out of those 1,700 IRLs. The next few slides will be a brief recap of the certification process, and then we will go back over the tools you will use to help your student athletes get certified. So step number 1 here is for the 40% of Division III that has not gotten access to the EC app yet. You are going to start here. You're going to get, you've got to get access to the EC app before you can help your prospects. And for the other 60% that has access to the membership portal, we're going to start at step number 2. But step number 2 is actually completed by the prospect when they register for their certification account. To reiterate what we have said in just about every webinar and presentation to date, if they are registering for a new account, have them choose the amateurism only certification account. If they already have an academic and amateurism certification account, they do not need to register for a second account. We can use that existing one. Steps 3 and 4 can happen in any order. Once the prospect has an active certification account, they can request their final amateurism certification, even if they don't have an IRL. However, they will not get an amateurism certification until they have both requested final amateurism and are on an active IRL. And once we have a decision, the institution and the prospect are both notified. So let's talk about what statuses you might see in a prospect's account. We did a more thorough review of the various amateurism decisions in a webinar back in March, so I'm going to keep this brief, but we will add a link to that webinar in the chat here, so feel free to check that out when you've got a moment. The pending review status means that we are not done reviewing an account. It could mean that there are still open tasks and we've got to get those finished before we can get to a decision, or it could mean we've closed all of the tasks and haven't had a chance to put eyes on that account yet to be able to close it out. Final certified means that your prospective student athlete is eligible to compete immediately. There are no conditions and no reinstatement required for that PSA. The final certified with conditions means that prospective student athlete has a delayed enrollment penalty. This would include loss of seasons of competition and a year of residence. And final not certified means that this PSA has a bylaw 12 violation that requires them to go through the student athlete reinstatement process. It is up to the member school to submit the reinstatement request through RSRO, and you would do this the same way you would if you identified a violation on campus. I can tell you that if your prospect has anything less than a final certified decision, so they're final certified with conditions or final not certified, a member of our customer service team will reach out to talk through what that decision means and your potential next steps. You may also see a not applicable decision. This generally means that when we are looking at one division, we saw a potential issue in another division. If there's not an active IRL for the division with the potential issue, we won't post a decision now, but we will pick it back up if we ever get an IRL for that division. I will show you an example of what this would look like here in a little bit. But the takeaway for the not applicable task is if you see one in Division 3 and you need a decision, reach out to our customer service team to get it set back to pending review, and they'll get back in line to be looked at. So now we're going to get into the meat of today's webinar. We're going to go back through how to use the membership portal to help your PSAs through their certification. From prior presentations, you'll recall that the membership portal is your go-to application for all things Eligibility Center. This includes important information, updates, policies and procedures, tutorials, publications, presentations, and other forms. It's also where we post all of our presentations and the related PDFs in the following days. You will find presentation materials, including for today's here in a few days, in the Resource Links tab. The membership portal enables you to have access to critical information for your international recruits. So once you're in the portal, there are 5 main things you'll want to review. And we're going to touch on each. So that's activating students to your IRL, monitoring the progress of those specific accounts, submitting additional information if the Eligibility Center asks for it, updating your sports sponsored list, and accessing resources and support. If you've got your phone with you, feel free to grab the QR code here for the membership portal quick start guide. This is a great resource to have open the first few times you're clicking around through the portal, but it's great to refer back to even when you feel a little bit more comfortable in there. The quick start guide can answer a lot of questions for you if there's something specific you are looking to do or to accomplish in the portal. Now, starting at the very beginning, you will find the membership portal through the Eligibility Center app. It will look like this EC tile in the picture here. If you don't have that tile, you will want to talk to your applications administrator on campus. We have put a link for this to find your applications administrators in the chat if you need it. There's also a clickable link here in the PDF version of these materials that will be posted here to the portal in the coming days. If you need assistance, please feel free to contact our Eligibility Center customer service team at 877-544-2950 or at webhelpdesk@ncaa.org. Your school's NCAA app administrator can also add your name to the Eligibility Center contact list. Contacts on this list should be individuals who most frequently interact with EC staff. The Eligibility Center staff can only share student-specific information with the individuals on this list. Level of access is established by the applications administrator, and each member school is allotted 10 contacts associated with their EC account. The first 2 contacts on the list will automatically receive the EC's Division III member newsletter. And speaking of the D3 membership newsletter, if you are not one of the first 2 contacts and have not signed up to receive the newsletter, we have a handy QR code that you can use to sign up for it. We send the newsletter out with monthly updates. This is the best way to keep up with things like upcoming webinars and office closures and newly released resources or reminders of previous resources. So please take a minute to sign up if you aren't receiving it already. So let's start by talking about how to add your PSAs to an IRL. To get started adding a prospect to your IRL, you will click the IRL tab and choose IRL activation. Again, IRL means the institutional request list or the list of prospects the school is interested in recruiting. To reiterate one more time, even if a prospect has a completed certification account and has requested their final certification, because of inventory constraints, they will not receive a decision if they're not also on an active IRL. So you will fill in the search criteria using demographic information or their ID numbers and click Go Search. I want to point out that with the addition of Compliance Assistant 2.0, you can now find profile page accounts in the membership portal, but activating them to an IRL will not give you the benefits of a certification account. So you won't be able to pull the student detail reports that we're going to talk about here in a little bit or upload documents into their account. There's also no visibility to decisions because they will not get a final decision with a profile page account. We will talk here in a little bit about what to do if you cannot locate your PSA or if you're having a hard time adding them to an IRL. Once you have found the PSA you're looking for, you will check the box next to their student ID number and choose Activate at the bottom. The green checkbox means that the PSA is already on an active IRL. You will also notice the IRL deactivation option here too. You may end up with a prospect on your IRL that doesn't end up coming to your school. Removing prospects who are not coming to school helps us manage our workload and takes those athletes who are not coming to campus out of our inventory and lets us prioritize those who will come to campus and need a decision. In this case, you can deactivate through the IRL deactivation tab. You'll also search for the PSA's name the same as you did during the IRL activation portion. You will check the box next to the PSA's student ID number again, and this time you'll choose the deactivate button at the bottom of the page. There are a number of reasons why you may not be able to locate a PSA in the portal, or why you won't be able to activate them to your IRL. First, they may just not have an Eligibility Center account. You will want to have PSA register for that amateurism only certification account that we talked about earlier. You may have a PSA with only a profile page account, which will allow you to find them. But again, activating them to an IRL with a profile page does not give you the benefits of activating the IRL. In this case, you will want to ask this PSA to transition their profile page to an amateurism only certification account. Lastly, it could just be that the information you're searching with is incorrect. So maybe the name is spelled wrong or the ID number is off by a digit. I would check the information you're searching with and check back with the prospect if you have to. If you absolutely cannot find the PSA and you are confident you have the correct information, you will want to reach out to the Eligibility Center customer service staff. They can help troubleshoot any further options to try to help you resolve the issue and find that account. You'll want to choose the Contact Us tab in the membership portal. This is a 3 business day turnaround, so isn't always the best option when we need an answer urgently, but it is a great option for when you have just a quick question and you've got time to wait for a response. So we talked about how to activate and deactivate IRLs. Now, what do we do with those accounts once they're active? How can you help your prospects once you've identified them? Let's talk about how to monitor the progress of your prospects. To start, you will go to the Reports dropdown and choose Search Student Details. Within the Search Student Details is an option to search your IRL by demographic, by sport, or specific details. This is really nice because you can pull a report about a specific prospect or about an entire team. You can print a report for the entire team and hand it or email it to your coach and tell them to follow up with their prospects. A lot of the search criteria options at the bottom here are not really relevant to Division III certifications, but the one I will point out is the item, have they requested their final amateurism certification? This is extremely helpful as you get closer to, say, the start of a season. We'll use men's ice hockey as an example. You can search for all men's ice hockey prospects on your IRL who have not requested their final amateurism certification. We've mentioned this a little bit already, but if they have not requested their final decision, that means they're not even in line to get a decision. This is a great place to start to make sure your PSAs are even able to get their final amateurism decision. One thing to specifically keep in mind in the Search Student Details tab is the recruitment cycle. To this point, everyone's recruitment cycle is the 23-24 cycle, those prospects enrolling in the 2023-24 academic year. But as we move farther along through the academic year, we will get closer to moving into the 2024-25 recruitment cycle. We generally flip over recruitment cycles, I think, around March. So in March 2024, we'll stop working on the 23-24 recruitment cycle and move into the 24-25 recruitment cycle. I am sure that I surprise a lot of you when I say that the academic years fly by. I have been doing this for 8 years now and am astonished every time it's time to flip over to a new recruiting cycle. That said, we will give you fair warning when it's time to move to the new cycle and when we will stop working on the old cycle. I think this typically comes out in the membership newsletter, so when we talk about that here in a little bit, go ahead and sign yourself up if you aren't already. Once you have searched for and found the particular prospect you're looking for, you will choose the checkbox next to their ID number and select Get PSA Details at the bottom. This will pull up the PSA detail report. And by clicking Print Cert Status Report, you will get a detailed report on the overall certification status for each division and each sport. I have an example of the certification status report on the next slide. This example shows you the amateurism status for each sport and the full written decision. Generally, if a decision is final certified, there won't be anything accompanying it because they're just final certified and ready for competition. But if it's anything less than final certified, you will also see the certification conditions or a statement saying the school would need to go through the student athlete reinstatement process to regain the prospect's eligibility. So here in this example, you'll see a prospective student athlete who has a delayed enrollment condition. So it says something to the extent of the PSA is charged with 1 season of competition and is required to sit an academic year of residence. I will also point out, because we were not able to issue decisions for Division I or Division II, those are both set to not applicable. So that's an example of that not applicable status. The certification status report gives you a high-level overview. Are they certified or are they not? It's a great resource to know that my student athlete is final certified. But if you want to know what does my student athlete need to do to get final certified, then we need to talk about the track student function. With the track student function, we can follow this. You can follow the students you want to keep track of, and this would actively notify you of changes to the account. To get to track students, you will check the box next to the ID number again and click track students at the bottom. This time the ID number will turn green if track students is turned on for them. You will just do the reverse of this process if you want to turn track students off. There are some additional, more detailed reports you can pull as well. In the reports tab, we'll select additional reports this time. There are 4 options here in the photo, but the ones you will use the most are the 2 open tasks reports and the student email report. The core course list really won't be applicable for Division III. The action required task report will give you a list of PSAs that have tasks that have to be answered by the member school. This could be a task for a matriculation letter telling us the prospect's date of full-time enrollment. It could also be when we request information from the school about, maybe the national, international competition exception. These tasks have to be answered by the school. So here is where you would find a list of everything that you are responsible for on campus. The Open Task Report All is a list of all PSAs with any open tasks. You need to know what open tasks you personally are responsible for, which the action required task report is great for, but it's also important to know what other tasks need to be fulfilled to get to a decision. If there are open tasks, that means the PSA is not ready for a decision. What's really nice about these reports is that most of them can be exported to an Excel sheet or a PDF, so you can share it with the appropriate coaching staff. Again, your coaches have a vested interest in getting their prospects an amateurism decision, so let's get them to encourage their prospects to close those remaining tasks. The faster we close our tasks, the faster we get to a decision. Lastly, I've got an example of the student email report, which is just a list of the email addresses and other information that the PSA provides in their registration. This can be helpful if you're trying to get in contact with your prospective student athlete. And one final thing I will leave you with is this view of the PSA's task list in their Eligibility Center account. So the information in the task list is going to be the same as the open task report all. Let's say there's a task for the member school to provide a matriculation letter. The prospect will have an identical task in their EC account showing that we need the matriculation letter to be submitted by the school. Anything you see in one list will be in the other list as well. So we just talked about instances where the Eligibility Center requests information from the member school. So let's talk about how you would go about giving us that information. So I'll start this section by pointing out that there are some things that we will ask you to email to us and some things we will ask you to upload through the membership portal. We will tell you very specifically how we expect you to submit the information in the task, but right now we're going to talk specifically about submitting information through the membership portal. So to access the upload page, you're going to choose the resources dropdown and upload documents. So from this page, you will find the PSA with their demographic information or their ID number, same as you did when you activated them to your IRL or pulled their information in the open task report. You will select what type of a document it is that you're uploading. And then you'll choose the choose file and upload option. For this, you're going to use this upload function for things like the academic record submission form or the revised matriculation letter. This is also how you would submit your reconsideration request when you think that an amateurism decision needs to be revisited. Let's talk a little bit about the matriculation letter. The easiest way to explain the matriculation letter is that we are asking to confirm if the prospect has ever enrolled full-time at any other college or university, or are they coming in as an incoming freshman? The legislation changes if something happens after full-time enrollment, so that's why this information is relevant. It also impacts the delayed enrollment review because delayed enrollment stops at the point of full-time enrollment. So for those reasons, that's why we would ask for a matriculation letter. Now, the matriculation letter information can be submitted by any person on the school's contact list. So those 10 different people that you can add to the school's contact list. And it's done electronically now. We can find it under the resources dropdown and matriculation letter tab, or in the Eligibility Center forms in the resources tab. You can find more information about the new matriculation letter process in the September issue of the D3 membership newsletter, and we will add a link to that in the chat. But again, this blue link here is also clickable in the PDF resources from this webinar when it gets posted to the membership portal. So you'll also use the membership portal to update the school's sponsored sports list. So if you're adding programs or taking them away, you will want to make sure that your sponsored sports list is up to date at least once a year, likely sometime in the summer as we approach the new academic cycle. To do this, you will choose the IRL dropdown and update sports. On the left side, you will find the school's sponsored Division III sports. On the right side will be all other NCAA sports. So the right is a comprehensive list of all sports the NCAA offers. I don't believe that Division III offers archery, but you'll find it in the list anyway. You will just want to make sure that the sports you do offer are up to date and active. To do that, you are going to click Add Sports for new sports and deactivate if you are no longer offering that sport. The NCAA does not monitor nor audit sponsorship lists. It is the responsibility of the member school to maintain an updated list. Again, best practice for that is to review your list annually. Lastly, the membership portal is your source for all resources and information related to the Eligibility Center. I will point you now to a few final resources. Hopefully you recognize quite a few of them, but I want to make sure we left you with these resources to keep them top of mind. So you'll find most of the resources in the resource dropdown and resource links tab. Here we have a variety of instructional and educational materials that can be found in the resource links area, including links to the latest educational opportunities like webinars offered by the Eligibility Center. Resources are updated at least annually, so you'll want to check here for the most up-to-date versions. As noted at the start of this webinar, the recording and PDF of this webinar will be posted here in the coming days, as well as sent to everyone who registered and in the next Division III membership newsletter. I want to point out two sections for you. First, the international academics section. Take some time to review the resources here to familiarize yourself with the content and where to find it. I know that we don't do academic certifications for Division III, but we do review academic documents to determine high school graduation dates. So some of the information in here may be helpful. There is also an amateurism specific area where you will find policies and procedures, reconsideration options, information about urgent requests, and other amateurism related resources. These are one on top of the other on the lower left-hand side of the resource links tab. I would also like to highlight the Division III section in the resource links area. This is where you're going to find all of the information specific to Division III. There is a lot of great information in this section, and I would point you to the NCAA Division III Amateurism FAQ as one of the most important documents that you'll find in here. I would bookmark it rather than saving it because it is a working document. As we identify new frequently asked questions, we can update this document to reflect those, and we'll update the link in real time. At the bottom here, you'll also find a link to sign up for the Division III membership newsletter. We've talked about it quite a bit already today, but here's another plug for that membership newsletter. And all of the blue text here and throughout this webinar, they're all active links. So check those out when you get the PDF version of this webinar. Lastly, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to contact our customer service team. For non-urgent questions, you can send a contact us request through the contact us button. Again, we do ask for up to 3 business days to respond. So I would not use this for any questions you need answers to imminently, but it is a great resource when you've got some time to wait for a response. We've gone through a lot of information today. So I will leave you with just a few pointers on proactive steps you can take as you continue forward with Division III amateurism certifications. My first suggestion is to spread the message. As you become more familiar with the process, you can become a resource for your international student athletes coming to campus. I'd also tell you to become familiar with the membership portal. Use it to your advantage. It has resources to learn how to use it and how the certification process works, but it also has information specific to your prospects that can assist them in real time toward their decisions. And finally, stay up to date with the membership newsletter and register for future webinars as they become available. And at this time, I'm going to hand it back over to Daniel to go over some final resources with you all.
Yeah, thank you, Erica. So like Erica said, I'm going to go over some resources here. As you guys have heard it throughout the presentation today, we encourage you to subscribe and sign up for that Division III membership newsletter. If you haven't already done so, please take out your phone and you scan that QR code where you can sign up for that Division III membership newsletter. On the membership portal, also, you'll find the guide for the NCAA Compliance Administrator, guide for the college-bound student athlete, and you can see that membership portal quick start guide as well. As questions continue to come in, feel free to please use that Q&A function at the top of your screen. Like I said earlier, please leave your email with the question that you may have so that our customer service team can reach out to you just in case we don't get to your question today. Please also scan this QR code. This QR code will take you to our survey. It's a couple questions. It'll take you just a couple of minutes to finish, but the survey is on how we did today. If you have any feedback for us moving forward or any suggestions for future webinars, we strongly encourage you to fill this out so we make sure that we are providing all the necessary information for you all. Another QR code here. This is the membership portal quick start guide. If you scan that, it'll take you right to that document. This document is great. We'll walk you through everything that Erica talked about today. It's just a couple of pages about how to access the membership portal and how to walk through that membership portal. If you take out your phone and scan these QR codes as well, these will take you to our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also find us on Twitter at NCAAEC, Instagram at Play College Sports, Facebook at NCAAEC, and now YouTube at NCAAEC as well. Strongly recommend you following us on all these platforms or any platform that you may have, as resources will always be posted on there, and any key information will be posted there as well. And that takes us to our end of our webinar today. I want to thank you on behalf of myself and Erica for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. Like I said at the top, we are very excited to be working with Division III. We're excited to continue to work Division III moving forward in the future. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact our membership support line at 877-544-2950, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you again for taking time to be here. We really appreciate all that you do for Division III, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great rest of your day.